what you'll learn in this video.
Master over 80 must-know cooking actions, all in clear, everyday English.
Build your kitchen vocabulary while seeing each action in context.
Boost your speaking and listening skills with real-time repetition and rhythm.
Discover how simple phrases can transform your daily English fluency.
All right, welcome to the deep dive. Today we're taking a specific dive into the kitchen. But we're not really here to cook today. We're actually here to learn English.
That's right, using cooking as our context.
Exactly. Our source material for this deep dive is, well, it's a collection of sentences. Simple ones, all describing actions happening while someone's preparing food.
You know, like, I am doing this, I am doing that.
Precisely. Think of these sentences as a window into how English speakers talk about common, everyday tasks. Our mission today is to unpack these simple sentences and discover something really useful.
Which is?
How English lets you be surprisingly precise when talking about actions, and crucially, how we use a core structure to make those actions feel immediate, like they're happening right now.
Yeah, that presentness.
This should be perfect for you if you're working on making your English sound more active, more detailed.
And that's the key, isn't it? What these sentences show isn't just like a vocabulary list. It's a pattern, a way to bring your language to life. By looking at actions you might do every single day in the kitchen, sure, but elsewhere too. We can see how specific verbs, combined with this fundamental grammar structure, give your descriptions accuracy and immediacy.
Makes your English sound much more natural, more dynamic.
Exactly, it flows better.
Okay, let's unpack this then.
Okay.
We're going to start by looking at the most basic actions in our source material and see how the language captures them.
Good place to start. The basics.
So, the first few sentences deal with just getting started. We see, I am washing fruit and vegetables, and also, I am washing my hands.
Okay, so the foundational verb there is wash. Simple action.
Right.
But notice the pattern in the sentence. I am washing. This is the I am plus verbing form. The present continuous.
Ah, yes.
It's our go-to structure in English for describing something that is happening right at this exact moment.
So, you're doing it now, and you see it applied to different things, the food, your hands.
Yeah, same action, wash, different object being washed, shows its use.
Okay. Moving on, before you cut things up, you often need to remove the outside layer, right?
The scare or rind.
Our source gives us, I am peeling potatoes and I am peeling oranges. Ah, peeling. Good one.
That specific action, taking off the skin.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And again, I am peeling tells us it's happening right now.
Yeah.
And peeling is quite specific to that outer layer removal. You wouldn't usually peel paper, for instance.
No, you didn't wrap it or...
Right, or tear it. So the verb often ties into the physical action in the object itself.
Okay, so we've washed and peeled. Now, this is where I think it gets interesting because our source material uses several different verbs just for breaking ingredients down.
Yeah, not just cut.
Right. We have I am chopping vegetables, I am cutting carrots, I am slicing tomatoes, and I am dicing potatoes. It's definitely not all just cutting, is it?
Not at all. This is a fantastic example of that precision we mentioned earlier.
Okay.
So cut is the general verb. You can cut anything with a knife or scissors.
But English offers more detail. When you chop vegetables, especially something maybe a bit hard like an onion or celery, you're usually cutting it into smaller, often kind of irregular pieces, maybe with a more forceful up and down motion.
So chopping feels a bit rougher.
Yeah.
Less precise.
Usually, yeah, that's a good way to put it. Then compare that to slice. I'm slicing tomatoes.
Right.
Slice means cutting into thin, flat pieces. Think slices of bread, cheese, meat. It's often a smoother motion to create consistent, thin portions.
Makes sense, like for a sandwich or putting on top of something.
Exactly. And dice. I am dicing potatoes. Dicing is specifically cutting something into small, uniform cubes.
Ah, cubes, okay.
Yeah. This is more precise than chopping. It results in a neat, regular shape. You might dice onions, peppers, potatoes for, say, a stew or a soup where you want those even pieces.
So we've got cut, the general one, chop, smaller, maybe irregular bits, slice, thin, flat pieces, and dice, small, even cubes.
You got it. All describing variations of using a blade, but with different results.
And the source throws in another related action. I'm crushing garlic.
Ah, crushing. Different again. This uses force, not slicing.
How so?
Well, you press something hard to break it into smaller bits or even a pulp. Think about using the flat side of a big knife or maybe a mortar and pestle.
Or a garlic press?
Or a garlic press, exactly. The verb crush captures that application of pressure to break something down.
So already, just in prepping, we see how English lets you be really specific about how you're doing something.
Absolutely. And this pattern, this specificity, it continues when we look at cooking methods. Our source has a whole section on eggs.
Oh yeah, eggs are great for this.
They really are, because you can do so many things with an egg. We've got I am frying eggs, I am poaching eggs, I am whisking eggs, I am scrambling eggs, I am boiling eggs, I am cracking eggs, and even I'm separating egg whites and egg yolks.
Wow, look at all those verbs. Okay, so fry, poach, boil. Those are all about applying heat in different ways, right?
Exactly. Frying uses hot oil or fat in a pan. Poaching uses hot liquid, usually water or maybe broth, but without oil. Gentle heat.
Okay.
And boiling uses rapidly bubbling hot water. So each verb tells you precisely the cooking method.
And then you have the actions before they even hit the heat, like cracking. That's just getting into the shell.
Yep. Crack is breaking the shell, and separating, well, that's dividing the white from the yolk.
Right.
Then whisking, that's beating the liquid egg rapidly, usually with a whisk, to mix it smoothly and often add air, make it fluffy.
And scrambling.
Scrambling usually involves mixing the eggs while they cook in the pan, often breaking them up into soft curds.
It's amazing how many specific actions there are for just one ingredient, like an egg.
It really shows how detailed the language can be when it needs to be. And the source gives us other cooking methods too.
Yeah, what else?
We see, I am roasting vegetables, or I am roasting a turkey, I am grilling the chicken, or I am grilling fish fillets, I am sautéing onions and garlic, I am steaming the seafood, I am baking a chocolate cake, I am toasting bread, I am caramelizing sugar, and even I am deglazing the pan.
Whoa, okay. So many ways to apply heat. Roasting, that feels like cooking in an oven. Dry heat.
Correct. Dry heat in an oven, often for longer periods, things like turkey or root vegetables.
And grilling, that's over direct heat.
Usually, yeah. Often from below, giving you those nice grill marks, chicken, fish, burgers.
Got it. Sautéing. Sautéing onions and garlic, it sounds quick.
It is. It's quick frying and just a little bit of hot fat, usually over pretty high heat. Think small pieces like chopped onions or garlic, mushrooms maybe.
Quick and hot, okay.
Steaming uses the vapor from boiling water. It's a very gentle method, great for seafood or vegetables.
Right. And baking, that's oven again, but maybe different things.
Also dry heat in the oven, yes, but usually we use baking for things like bread, cakes, cookies, pastries, things made from batter or dough.
And toasting is just browning the surface, like bread.
Exactly. Browning with heat.
What about caramelizing and deglazing? Those sound a bit more technical.
They describe specific chemical processes or flavor building techniques, really. Caramelizing sugar is heating it until it melts and turns that distinct brown color and gets that nutty flavor.
Oh, okay.
And deglazing, this is a great one for flavor, you add liquid, like wine or stock, to a hot pan after you've cooked meat or vegetables in it.
Why?
To loosen and dissolve all those little brown bits stuck to the bottom, they're packed with flavor. It forms the base of amazing sauces.
See, this is that precision again. You could say, I am cooking sugar, but caramelizing tells you exactly how and what the result is.
Precisely. It's not just the action, but the purpose or transformation.
Okay, what about combining things?
Oh,
Or shaping mixtures?
good question. The source includes, I am stirring the soup, or I am stirring the batter. Also, I am mixing the ingredients, or I am mixing a salad. Then, I am blending a smoothie. I'm whipping cream. I am kneading the bread dough, and I am rolling out the dough.
Stirring, that feels like a circular movement, right? To combine.
Yes, often to keep something from sticking, or to combine things gently, like stirring soup, or sauce, or cake batter.
And mixing, more general.
Yeah, mixing is more general. You just put things together and combine them thoroughly. Could be dry ingredients for a cake, or mixing things together in a salad bowl.
And blending. That always makes me think of a machine, a blender.
It usually does involve one, yeah. Blending implies using a blender to mix ingredients very powerfully, often making something smooth or liquid like a smoothie or pureed soup.
Okay. Whipping cream.
Whipping involves beating something vigorously, like with a whisk or electric mixer, specifically to incorporate air and make it light and fluffy, like whipped cream or egg whites.
Ah, so whipping is all about adding air.
Pretty much, yeah. And then you have actions specific to dough, to knead dough. That's working it with your hands.
Yeah, pushing and folding.
Exactly. Pressing and folding it repeatedly to develop the gluten, make it elastic. It's a very physical action.
And after kneading, You might roll out the dough.
Right, using a rolling pin to make it flat and thin for pizzas or cookies or maybe pasta.
So even combining and shaping has its own set of precise verbs. Who knew?
It does. Now, how about adding things to our food?
Ah, yeah. Like salt or sugar.
Exactly. The source gives us, I am adding sugar to the tea, I am sprinkling herbs on the pizza, I am pinching salt into the soup, and I am pouring milk.
Adding seems like the most general one here, just putting something in.
It is. But then you get more specific ways of adding. To sprinkle means to scatter small pieces over a surface, like sprinkling herbs or cheese or sugar.
Little bits everywhere.
Right. To pinch is to take a very small amount, usually of something powdery like salt or spice, between your thumb and forefinger.
Just a tiny bit.
Yeah. And to pour is specifically for causing a liquid to flow from a container. Pouring milk, pouring water, pouring sauce.
So how you add something changes the verb. It's not always just add.
Exactly. And this specificity, it continues right up to serving and finishing touches.
Okay, like what?
Our source lists. I am ladling the soup into bowls, I am carving the turkey, I am slicing the cake, I am decorating cupcakes, I am filling the jars, I am piping cream, I am arranging sushi rolls or arranging cookies, I am scooping ice cream, and I am basting the turkey.
Ladling soup.
Yeah.
You definitely need a specific tool for that, a ladle.
You do. So ladle is using that big, deep spoon to move liquid or semi-liquid food.
Makes sense. Carving the turkey, that's like slicing, but for meat.
Kind of. Carving is specifically cutting cooked meat, usually a large piece like a turkey or a roast, into slices or pieces for serving. Slicing the cake is similar, cutting portions from the finished item.
And decorating and piping, those are the fun parts, making it look nice.
They are. They're about adding those final aesthetic touches. Decorating is general, but piping is specific, using a bag with a nozzle to apply cream or frosting in shapes.
Right.
Filling is just making something full, like filling jars with jam or maybe filling pastries. Arranging is putting things in a particular order or design food on a plate, cookies on a baking sheet. Scooping is using a scoop tool, usually for soft, round things like ice cream or maybe mashed potatoes. And basting the turkey that's moistening meat while it cooks.
How do you do that?
Usually with its own pan juices or maybe melted butter. You spoon it over the meat periodically during roasting to keep it moist and add flavor. Connects back to roasting.
Ah, okay. The source even includes verbs for actions sort of around the meal itself, not just the cooking part.
That's true. What do we have?
I am setting the table, I am chilling the drinks, I am selecting a wine, I am decanting red wine, and even just I am enjoying a homemade pizza night.
Right, these verbs cover the broader dining experience. Setting the table is preparing it for the meal plates, cutlery.
Yeah.
Chilling is making something cold. Selecting is choosing one thing from several options. Decanting wine? That's another specific one.
What does that mean exactly?
It's pouring wine, usually older red wine, from its bottle into another container, a decanter. It does two things. Separates the wine from any sediment at the bottom and lets the wine breathe, expose it to air to soften the flavors.
Interesting. Another specific action with a purpose.
Exactly. And enjoying, of course, describes the overall positive experience of the meal.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, I think. The source has some maybe less common, but very specific verbs. They really show how detailed English can be about kitchen tasks.
Yeah, some fun ones in there.
Like, I am grating cheese, or I am spreading butter, I am draining the cooked pasta, I am sifting the flour to remove lumps, I am tenderizing the meat with a mallet, I am skewering vegetables.
What's fascinating here is that level of detail, isn't it? To grate, that means rubbing something against a grater tool.
Yeah, the thing with the holes.
Right. To produce small shreds, cheese, carrots, maybe ginger. Spreading is applying a soft substance, like butter or jam, in a thin, even layer.
On toast, usually.
Usually. Draining is removing liquid from solids, like draining pasta after boiling it, typically using a colander.
So draining is specifically about separating solid from liquid.
Precisely. Sifting involves putting dry, powdery ingredients like flour or powdered sugar through a sieve or sifter.
Why do that?
To remove any lumps and also to incorporate air, make it lighter. Helps with baking.
Okay. Tenderizing meat sounds painful.
Huh. For the meat, maybe. It means making it softer, less tough, often by pounding it with a special mallet to break down the tough muscle fibers.
Oh, okay. And skewering, like for kebabs.
Exactly. Putting pieces of food, vegetables, meat, fruit onto a long, thin stick, which is called a skewer, usually for grilling or roasting.
We also saw a few others, like I am picking fresh herbs, I am marinating the steak, I am mashing potatoes.
Yeah. Picking is selecting or gathering, like herbs from the garden. Marinating is soaking food, often meat, in a flavorful liquid mixture for some time before cooking.
To add flavor.
And sometimes to tenderize it too. Mashing is crushing soft cooked food, like potatoes or bananas, into a smooth pulp.
And I am tasting the sauce, I am melting chocolate, I am licking chocolate cream, even that one.
Hey, tasting and licking are definitely kitchen actions. Tastings is checking the flavor. Melting is changing a solid to a liquid with heat.
There were also, I am preserving cucumbers, I am wrapping the dough, I am setting the timer, and I am shaking a cocktail.
Yeah, preserving is treating food to stop it spoiling like pickling cucumbers. Wrapping is covering something up, maybe dough and cling film to rest. Setting a timer is obvious. And shaking a cocktail, vigorously mixing it, usually with ice in a shaker.
Wow. Okay, so just looking at this collection of sentences about cooking has shown us like dozens of really specific action verbs.
It really has. And the key thing, as we saw throughout, is they nearly all follow that core pattern. I am plus the verbing form.
Right, that present continuous.
This I am plus verbing structure is how we make all these precise actions feel immediate, like they are happening right now as you describe them. It's fundamental.
So, by exploring these verbs in the context of the kitchen, something familiar, you're not just learning cooking words.
No, not at all.
You're seeing how English lets you be incredibly specific about your actions. And you're practicing how to describe things happening at this very moment using that essential structure. It applies to so many everyday activities, not just cooking.
Absolutely. These simple sentences, they're really powerful tools for language learning. Learning language tied to physical actions you understand or can easily picture makes it so much easier to remember and use naturally, which actually raises an important question.
And that feels like the perfect place to wrap up this deep dive. We've sliced, diced, stirred, and sautéed our way through a fantastic collection of kitchen action verbs.
We certainly have.
We've uncovered the amazing precision English offers and reinforced that essential I am plus verbing structure for talking about the here and now.
And paying attention to these specific action verbs, practicing that present continuous verb really helps you build fluency. It helps you describe your world with much greater accuracy and immediacy.
Well, thank you for joining us for this deep dive into the language of cooking actions.
My pleasure.
So here's a thought for you to carry into your day. The next time you find yourself in the kitchen or maybe just doing any simple task around the house, pause for a moment. Listen to the actions you are performing. How many different specific verbs can you use to describe exactly what you are doing in that moment? You might surprise yourself.